Hi, I am Mia Lamont, your host for the Brand Disruptors podcast. I've been a disruptor all my life, and I'm here to help other women step into their own greatness so that they can get paid to be themselves. I decided to start this podcast because I wanted to show other women how I and women like me took their life's disruptions and changed their lives and the lives of others, not to mention broke the mold in their industries. Look, branding is all about who you are at your core, the person that your soul is calling you to be. So get ready to step into your power, own your authenticity, and show up like the boss that you are. If you enjoy all aspects of personal development, you are in the right place. Let's get started. All right, Ms. Lori Jones, are you ready? She's ready. She's backstage. I'm going to bring her up in a second or two. Guys, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. If you're watching this on replay or if you're listening to this on our podcast, make sure that you comment, share, download, do all of the things so that we can get more visibility and so that other people can get some benefit from these words of wisdom. So, all right, Miss Lori Jones, I'm going to bring you up. How are you, ma'am? In your leopard print today. Okay.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. You even got the bright pink lipstick flowing. I see you. So, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been good. We're in a new year, new beginnings. Kind of starting some new things this year. I guess this is the best way to put it.
I love your office setup. It looks really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell the audience about who you are, what you do, what kind of disruptions are you participating in this year?
All right. So, of course, as always, thank you for having me.
Yes.
And I am Lori Jones, owner of Black-ology Coffee Company. I am a creator of all things. I am a chef, a baker, a badass mom, and a lover of people. So let's see, Black-ology. Basically, we're here to cultivate a love of Black coffee, and we do that through community engagement, education, initially coffee education, but now we're incorporating some other types of education, as well as the development of relationships. And we have pivoted primarily to an online retail website store, as well as focusing on wholesale accounts as well, putting coffee in stores.
So tell us about, okay, you said the word pivot. Yes. So tell me, like, what happened that made you decide that pivoting was necessary? I don't know if it was a pandemic or something else. And then, like, what was the process of elimination or process of, okay, this is how we're going to pivot? Like, how did you decide as a business owner what kind of pivots to make? Did you have support? Did you do it on your own? Like, how did that happen?
So pivoting in this particular instance was kind of when it got cold outside. I mean, pop-up shops were awesome, killing it in pop-up shops. It's great, but it is physically draining. It's well worth it for the relationships, of course, the people that you meet. But physically, my body could not take it, and I started having some health issues as a result of that. So I started to pivot into more of an online presence while also focusing on getting my coffee into stores that fit my values. Like Flourish Market is the first store that we really partnered with to get our products into.
Okay, you said stores that fit our values. Let's talk about that because that's what branding is all about, right? And we're talking about brands, we're talking about disruptions. And for you to make a conscious decision to say, these stores need to align with our company's values or we're not doing business with you. Yeah. Tell me how you came to that decision.
I went through an interesting growth process while working with you, where someone was always in my head. making decisions. I was making decisions that weren't true to me and my values. So by working with Flourish Market, for instance, going into a store like that, feeling the vibe of just you look around and you look at all those products and you just see the badassery that women can bring, minority women, women in general, and you know how much greatness it is. You love the way it makes you feel. Like it's an experience. Everything for me is an experience. So if I walk into your store and I'm not feeling anything, I don't want my products in there.
Oh, that's really good. So okay, so let's back this up a little bit. How did you determine? So when we were talking with one of our guests earlier, they had some books that kind of showed them what their values were. How did you determine what your values were besides the feeling that you got when you walked into the store? Like, how else did you determine what the values are or what your values are?
So the other determination process wound up being when I went to therapy and I got real clear. I still go to therapy, but real clear on I don't like this energy you're giving me, so I'm not gonna I can't do that. If it disrupts if it disrupts what's inside of me, then I'm not able to focus. If it's something that does not sit well with me, I cannot focus on what the greater picture is, which is a distraction, which is not a benefit to my business.
Absolutely. So you're learning to gut check,
Yep.
or you are gut checking and acting accordingly.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's a really big clue for the audience on how to know if something is right for you. Like if it feels off, it's probably off, right?
Yep.
So you said you had other people in your head kind of telling you what to do and how to move about. And were these solicited? Was it solicited feedback, or was this just like feedback given to you?
Never solicited. It was sometimes when you something that I had struggled with that is still a work in progress is when you ask people for help or when they volunteer their help, you have to, first of all, you have to have boundaries in place.
Somebody else spoke about boundaries today.
You have to have boundaries in place. You have to stick to those boundaries, but also you don't have to take everything that they say as this is what it should be. Because I'm helping you, this is what it should be. I mean, you know, it's you, it's yours. If it doesn't align with you, it can't be.
Help should be like love, unconditional. Like if you're going to help somebody, help them because you want to help them. Like you shouldn't have expectations other than the expectations that are set out by the two of you, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you figured that out, right? You figured out that wasn't working for you and you put some boundaries in place. Was it hard to stick to the boundaries? Was it hard to keep them out of your head? I'm sure it was on repeat for some things, like because I still hear my mom sometimes, even though she's not even around anymore, nor would I actually, like at this point for business, even listen to what she had to say, right?
Right.
So for you, when did you decide, or when did, like, what was the point in your life where you were just like, you know what, I'm done. Like whatever this is, it's got to stop because it's causing me more pain than it's causing me, or than it's actually being helpful.
Yep. It is a, let's see, how do I put this? I realized that not even that I could just say no, but like I don't have to put my energy into it. I can, if they call and they want to give their advice, I don't have to answer the phone, or I can hang up the phone. You know, it's I choose what I put my energy into.
I love that. So you're making conscious decisions.
Yep.
About how you're going to interact.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I know that I can't, I know that in the space that I am in, because I'm still working on specific areas, that with the boundaries, I won't be able to keep my boundaries while I'm growing, working on creating these or securing the boundaries if I'm allowing the stuff to continue to happen. So
did you feel like you had to cut some people off?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And audience, like this is one of the big things that I think a lot of us struggle with. Sometimes we have to let certain people go and have certain people not be a part of our lives while we work on the construction of keeping them out or keeping the noise out or keeping their opinions out or keeping their judgments out. Like sometimes you just have to separate yourself from that person, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that you don't care about them. It doesn't mean that they don't care about you. It just means that you care about yourself enough to have the boundaries, as Lori said, and stick to the boundaries, because that's a whole other set of gifts that we get. Yes, sticking to the boundaries. Yeah. So let's talk about Black-ology for a little while, and then we'll get into whatever you have going on, what's coming up for you. So Black-ology started out when?
Black-ology started, well, the name was created back in May of 2019, but the company actually started July of 2020 in the midst of the pandemic.
So during the pandemic, you decided I'm gonna launch a coffee company.
Yeah, I lost my job as a chef and was forced to sit still, which I don't do well. Sit still, sit with myself, and figure out life. And and I made a spiritual connection that I had long left behind. And I mean, my creator, God, actually brought the idea to me in my sleep, and it was like it all came together in a week from there. It was already in my head, but how was
the how showed up.
Mm-hmm.
The how showed up. So how did you do it?
So I started with a 5-pound bag of coffee and talking to my friends, but I kind of realized after the fact it started long before that, because in the corporate jobs that I had, I was the one different person who everybody came to my desk for whatever. I had a Keurig on my desk. I had a variety of K-cups. I had a snack cabinet. Like I had a little side hustle going on at work, but I was educating people on coffee at that time. It wasn't always Starbucks coffee. It was different brands, different types. But people came and they're like, okay, like I'm not really sleepy, but I want something that tastes good. Like I'm making these recommendations as we're going along. So when I launched, providing samples to people was how, like that's how it's been going. You can't, somebody's not going to buy something to consume if they can't taste it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of it.
So you took your love of building relationships, hanging out, hustling, as you called it, and your love of coffee, and you brought that to Black-ology Coffee Company. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you did this online in the middle of a pandemic.
Yep.
And so you sold coffee directly to the consumer. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. And then you have, so the business has grown from that to, what are you doing now?
So right now we're still selling coffee online, but we've expanded it to Canada and the UK since there was a lot of interest peaking over there.
Awesome.
And a lot of stores have reached out. So I have purposely been slow in the process of vetting each store to figure out if it's somewhere that I want my products to be. You know, and it's funny because there are people in my ear like, you should be moving faster, you should be jumping on this, you should be doing. I'm like, no, I shouldn't be doing anything other than what I'm doing right now.
Oh my God, Lori, that is so good. Like let's pause for a moment and talk about that. Like you're actually living into, like you're trusting yourself to know, like, no, I'm moving at the right pace. It doesn't need to go faster, even if faster means more success or more money or more of something that you think you need. Mm-hmm. You're like, no, I need to sit with this. I need to make sure this is right for me. And like, what made you decide that this is what you need to be doing right now?
It was there. So from the beginning of January, so actually New Year's Eve up until a couple of weeks ago, there has been this fog that I've been in. So there wasn't a vision board. There wasn't like this list of goals. There was this weird energy, Mercury retrograde maybe, but there was this weird energy that like really made me sit still. And when I finally got to the point where I could sit still, that's when the wheel started turning, and that's when like emails just started flooding in about people wanting to carry products, corporations reaching out wanting to purchase coffee for their offices and things like that. So I'm like, well, again, maybe it was sitting still and in that meditative space, and also starting to do these affirmation cards that I do on my Instagram page, providing myself and others with inspiration, that made that possible.
We're going to give you the Instagram link, people, so don't get all hyped up. We're going to make sure that you guys have her Instagram link if you don't have it already. But so you decided to actually take some time for yourself. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Do affirmations. Sounds like there's some prayer going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like you have like a morning routine, daily routine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's steadily changing. I actually just joined the gym. I'm trying to get my priorities in check within a budget, but I know that I really truly have learned from a lot of instances from last year and this year that if I am not okay, then nothing else is okay.
Right. Right. And being able to take care of yourself. And it sounds like the practices that you're putting in place or that you have in place already is part of that. But you know that, okay, I need to take care of this physical part of me too. And then what are you doing to nurture the rest of your soul with your creative nature? Because I know you create a lot of stuff, because you mentioned being a chef and a baker. Let's talk about a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so I'm actually working with my circle of friends has kind of dwindled down, but there's one friend in particular where we are now working hand in hand to support each other in each other's businesses, but also working on a podcast where we are talking about what it is to build and become a high value woman.
I love that. Love that. So when are you guys gonna launch? When is all that gonna happen?
We haven't figured out the date just yet, or the location. We're still ironing out the details on that, but
Okay.
yeah, it's something that we want to like kind of incorporate a spiritual aspect of it as well. So it's not just, point. We also want to like teach you how to manifest. Like you've taught me how to manifest. Like I truly, like in the morning when I go live or don't go live, and I take my breathing exercise and I read this card, like I truly believe what is on this card. So giving people give that energy, because I mean we have to share the knowledge. We do.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, all of this knowledge is out there for anybody to go look for it. It's really about finding the person that's going to deliver it to you in a way that you understand it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then being open to doing the things, because it sounds like you've taken a lot of the stuff that we've talked about and put them into practice, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Being willing to do the things in order to have the stuff that you say that you want to have. Right. A lot of us will get coaching, or will be a part of a program, or we'll get a lesson from someone, and we'll just sit on it. Mm-hmm. We'll just sit on it instead of going and actually doing the thing that's going to take us to where we want to go, because we're afraid of where we're going, or we're afraid of actually doing the work.
That's facts. Fear has held me back time and time again, but never more.
and are you saying, like, as a woman of worth, because I think that's what, is that the name of the podcast?
Well, we haven't titled it, but that's
something like that.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you finally understand that your value doesn't come from anything other than you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. That's awesome. So the cards that you're talking about, are those going to be part of your thing, or is that somebody else's manifestation cards? Or
so these, I actually got these from Flourish Market, but I am working on my own. I've been on Pinterest finding things that align with me, and areas that I want to improve in to create my own deck. Awesome. But yeah, these are in this moment cards.
Tell us about them. In this moment cards.
Yeah, so in this moment, they sell these at the Flourish Market downtown Raleigh. This is a woman-owned company that, of course, the lighting is off in this moment.
Yep, we can see them.
Basically, I mean, it's all different things. So like the cards for today, I find comfort in the discomfort. Otherwise, I would have never moved.
That's so true.
I don't have to prove anything. I choose being me for me.
Love those. Those are amazing. I don't have to go get
Yeah,
them
like
yet.
they're
All got me spending money today.
right, right.
Yes, yes. So what was the biggest lesson for you as an entrepreneur? What would you say your biggest lesson has been?
The biggest lesson has been being true to myself. Like, be true to yourself and boundaries. Like, boundaries. There was one word that I hated in life growing up, and that was potential, and now it's boundaries. But boundaries are so necessary. I hear the word all the time, but it's so necessary. Um, Setting boundaries, like even right now in this moment, I'm sure you guys hear knocking on the door. The kids got to have some boundaries, right? Because when the door is closed, you don't come in. But having the boundaries, sticking to them, that's the biggest. That's been the biggest. It changes. My answer to that question always changes, but more recently it's been boundaries.
Yeah, I have a dog scratching at my door that I could totally ignore, but I
Mm-hmm.
understand kids think that they come first all the time and their emergency is your priority, and sometimes it's not.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So so that you can attend to your children
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that that's going on. How did you discover to be true to yourself? Like, I believe that a lot of women, especially women of color, like, we have been taught not to be ourselves. How did you get back to what is true for you?
So how do I don't even know that I want to sugarcoat it. I think I just want to say
Don't
it.
you know we don't sugarcoat here. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I got tired of being treated like shit enough to really stand up for myself. And it's always things that go on, in the silence. But I literally had my breaking moment last year, towards the end of the year, where I was like, I will not be treated like shit ever more. Yeah.
And how do you know you're being treated like shit? I'm gonna
Because
take it
of
a
the
step
way I
further.
feel. If I feel small, if I don't feel confident, if I don't feel like a badass bitch that I am, that's not it. You got to go. If you're not giving me the energy or the love that I deserve, and I start to feel small, then that's a boundary that you cannot cross with me, because no, I got to protect me.
Oh my God, that's so good. That is so good. Because I believe that a lot of us we got it backwards, right? We think that our validation comes from someone outside of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when we realize that if something feels like shit, or someone or something makes us feel bad, like, we get to check in to see, okay, well, is this an area I need improvement on, or is this their stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We get to check in out with ourselves about that. But it sounds like for you, you realized that it wasn't you, it was them, and they had to go.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Good for you.
Very different from the conversations we used to have.
Absolutely. Because I mean, I didn't even, this is new information to me, right? We haven't talked about this kind of stuff since I think we talked in the fall. So we hadn't really talked about this, but this is a new version of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's you actually living into the person that you came here to be, and that's what we're all here for. That's what building a brand is all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about becoming the person that you came here to be. Period.
That's right.
Anything else you want to let the fans, because David's talking about she's a fan. Anything that you want to let the audience know about any promotions you have coming up, Black-ology coffee, your catering? Like, I know you do a lot of stuff. So is there anything that you want to tell the audience?
So at the present moment, we are in Black History Month. So if you go to the website, you will receive 10% off automatically in your shopping cart when you purchase any of our African based coffees, or actually pretty much all of them, if I'm being quite frank. Anything that has a Black business name, the Disruptor, in recognition of Mia Lamont, the Disruptor. That one is also 10% off. That is one that a lot of people really like, and they really talk about it. I encourage you to try it. It's a little sweet with a little smoky, just something like, ooh, like throw you off your game a little bit. But you can visit the website at www.black-ology.org. We now have equipment available for purchase. We have apparel, we have sneakers, all kinds of stuff up there, as well as the coffee. And then on our social media platforms, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Black-ology Coffee Company, as well as me on my personal page on Instagram at Lori A. Jones 85.
She's everywhere, y'all. She's everywhere. So we have the Instagram, I believe, is what we're going to share with you guys. And then you can find her in all the places that she just mentioned. And we'll put this in show notes on the podcast. Lori, thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
I guess you'll attend to that child that's knocking on the door, or not. Maybe you'll sit in meditation or do something else for yourself and stick around and watch Cynthia when she comes up.
Absolutely.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thanks for listening to the Brand Disruptors podcast. I'm your host, Mia Lamont. And if you like what you just heard, I hope that you will pass along our web address at www.mialamont.com/podcast to your friends and colleagues. And please leave us a positive review on iTunes. Download this episode and any other episode that you found to be helpful. And be sure to check out our previous episodes and join me next time with another edition of the Brand Disruptors podcast.